Kitchen scraps are usually thrown away, but you could be saving hundreds of dollars if you regrow some of these veggies. Take green onions, for example.
Although these onions will grow with just water, the leaves and the plants will thin out and have less taste as we continue to regrow them.
Instead of cutting off the end of the onion with the little roots growing out of it and throwing it away, plant it. Plant it root end down in some potting soil. Place it in a sunny window, keep it watered, and watch your onions grow. This is great for beginner scrap growers, since the green part of the onion will grow back quite fast. In about 2 weeks, it'll be tall enough to snip and eat again. Just remember that not every plant is going to sprout and grow. Sometimes you're going to lose a few, but once you've got the hang of scrap planting, you'll reap the benefits. Celery scraps are also easy to grow.
Ready for harvest at any length you desire. Now remember, celery is a cold weather crop. So growing celery from existing stalks is a perfect spring, fall, or even indoor project.
Cut off stalks about 2 inches from the bottom of the celery bunch. Place these bits into a bowl of water, although you shouldn't submerge them. In a few days, you'll start seeing roots at the base and leaves will grow on the top. In a few weeks, you'll be able to plant them in soil, but only leave the leaves sticking out. In only a few weeks, you'll have a fresh new bunch of celery. However, you should also note that celery is a cool weather crop, so plant it outside in springtime instead of waiting for those excruciatingly hot summer months. Another veggie that you can grow is romaine lettuce.
You're going to want a really sharp knife for this. And so you've got a nice bunch of lettuce, you've preserved the crown, we can see I didn't chop the crown off, and there we go. It's really that simple, guys. So the cut and come again method, explained in about a minute or two.
There's nothing better than a fresh, crisp piece of lettuce on a burger or fresh lettuce in a Sunday salad. So why wouldn't you want to grow lettuce? Much like celery or green onions, cut off what you're going to eat, but leave a couple of inches at the base. Place this in a bowl of water, and new leaves will start to grow from the center. Remove some of the outer leaves, as they'll die in time. And when you think the time's right, plant your romaine in soil. Soon you'll have a fresh new head of lettuce. Now, if lettuce isn't your thing, why not make your own garlic farm?
Your bulbs into their constituent cloves. But what's really important here is to be very discriminatory when you're doing this and only make sure to plant the largest cloves. So let me go ahead and dismantle this Lore's Italian garlic right here.
Now, when you're making pesto, leave one of the garlic bulbs cloves. In the autumn, plant the clove outside in some soil, root side down of course, with the tapered end pointing up. When spring or summer comes, you'll be able to harvest a full new bulb of garlic. You'll know it's ready when the tops begin to turn yellow and fall over. Alternatively, you can plant garlic cloves in a pot near a sunny window and have an infinite supply of fresh garlic bulbs. Now, if you're a sushi fan, you can always plant your ginger.
Fresh ginger. You want to look for something that is light in color and is not raisiny. Dried ginger will start to turn like a raisin. See this little finger here?
If you have a recipe that requires less ginger than you have, you can always freeze it for later. Or you can plant it and have more ginger roots. Put the root in moist potting soil with the newest buds facing up. And since ginger is a tropical plant, you can keep it indoors and watch it grow from the comfort of your living room. Green shoots will start to come up out of the soil and the roots will start to spread out. After a few months, yes, this is an investment, you can start to take some of the roots and cover them up with soil again after you've taken what you needed. This will let it continue to grow, and you can enjoy ginger whenever you want. If you really want to save some cash in the future, consider planting some potatoes.
Today I want to walk you through the process of planting potatoes. It's really easy, and it's actually one of my favorite vegetables to plant because everything happens underground, so you really don't know what you're going to get until you go into harvest.
Everyone loves potatoes. They can be chips, they can be baked, hell, they're even amazing just boiled. So when you have a few baby potatoes lying around, plant them as is, and they'll most likely grow. For bigger potatoes, however, cut them up into smaller pieces. Make sure to leave a few eyes on each piece. If you leave the pieces out to dry for a few days, it might help prevent them from rotting. Plant the pieces outside or in a container filled with well-drained potting mix. Now you just have to wait for them to sprout. In a few months, you'll be able to dig out your first fresh new batch of potatoes. If you want something even easier to grow than potatoes, but are still potatoes, plant sweet potatoes.
I'm growing many different varieties of sweet potatoes. I got the large garnet sweet potato and the Japanese sweet potatoes as well. No matter what kind of sweet potato you're growing, the technique is the same.
With sweet potatoes, you don't have to look for any eyes. When one sweet potato is sprouting, it might be too far gone for dinner. So plant it as is, and in a few months, you'll have a whole new one. However, you can also cut a sweet potato in half and suspend it over a shallow container of water using toothpicks. Roots will sprout and begin to grow in a few days. Once the sprouts are around 4 inches or so, twist them off and put them in a container of water. When the roots from this container are around 1 inch in length, plant them in the garden or in a large container. So if you're looking to grow a few herbs, it's also quite easy to do.
Take the tips off, cutting back to a node. And what a node is where these little branches are starting to come off the side shoots. And again, remember to only harvest what you need, but this will keep the plant from flowering and also encourage it to branch more.
Regrowing herbs like cilantro and basil are easy. Cut a stem around 4 inches long and place it into a glass of water, but make sure that the leaves aren't submerged in the water. Place the stem in a bright area, but out of direct sunlight. In a few days, if you can see any roots, once these roots are 1 inch long, go ahead and plant them in soil. Give it some time and you'll have your very own herb garden. If you're up for a challenge, you can try regrowing mushrooms from mushroom scraps.
Placed your bucket in these fruiting conditions, you should start to see little baby mushrooms starting to form in some of the holes on the bucket. Now, they won't necessarily grow out of every hole that you've created, but they should start to grow out of quite a few, and they should come roughly at the same sort of time.
This isn't an easy feat, however it is possible. Mushrooms thrive in warm rooms with lots of humidity. We recommend planting them in a pot so that it'll be easier to control your planting environment. First, you're going to need to cut off the cap of the mushroom. Then you'll need to place it into nutrient-rich soil, but leave the top exposed. Keep an eye out for when they start to grow and harvest once they're ready. Now, green onions are easy to grow, but you can do the same with normal onions.
Hours, and depending on the variety, they may not grow well or even fail completely if the wrong type is grown at the wrong time. For example, late maturing varieties that happen to be great keepers or last a long time in the pantry.
Yellow or red onions can easily grow from scraps. Cut off a 1 inch piece from the root end of the onion and place it on the ground or in a bowl of water, but make sure that the cut surface is above the water. Soon, it'll begin to regenerate its roots. Then it can be planted in soil. You can even leave an entire onion in water and watch it sprout. Then you can plant it outside. Now, we know that this list consists of veggies, but something else you can grow is a pineapple.
As soon as it starts getting golden like that, that means to take it off the plant. You also want to make sure animals don't get your harvest. So what I do is I literally just start to bend it and it's going to pop right off that vine.
While it's not a vegetable, it's still really cool, and it can save you a few bucks in the future. Simply remove the crown of the pineapple, cut off the excess fruit pieces, trim the bottom of the stem, and leave the stalk to dry. Place the crown in a glass jar filled with water. Do a water change every few days. After some time, place the pineapple in a pot filled with soil. For now, keep it in direct light, but once it starts to show new life with greener and newer leaves, place it in full sun while keeping it moist. Just look out for overwatering. Now, much like lettuce, you can grow cabbages, and much like onions, you can grow other bulb-like veggies. But the veggies you grow will save you hundreds of dollars in the future, and it will always be fresh. But we all know what's most important: bragging to everyone that you grew these veggies in your own garden. So don't waste any time and get planning. We'll see you in the next video.